Hello, class of 2023. This is Mr. Baker, representing the math department. It's a little strange doing this presentation this way, but everything seems to be strange this year, so I think you guys are used to it. So you see a flow chart up on my screen now, and you guys should be experts at reading flow charts. Each one of you 10th graders should fall into one of those classes on the left-hand side. I'll start with the Algebra 1R. If you just finished your second year of algebra, then it is our hope that you will move on to some kind of geometry class. I think the New York State requirement is you have to take 3 years of math. It is our hope and expectation that each kid will take 4 years of math, especially if you're college bound. Colleges want to see 4 years of mathematics. So if you're in Algebra 1R, it's our hope that you'll move on to some kind of geometry class, perhaps geometry topics. But you know what? If you want to get that third math class out of the way so you're just done and have your 3 math credits to graduate, then you can look into one of our electives, which is personal finance and engineering. Typically, those are for seniors. But if you're just looking to get your third math credit, then you can certainly look into one of those classes. For those of you who may be doing BOCES as well, many of the programs at BOCES, you can get a third math credit. That's not my area of expertise. Your guidance counselors know a lot about that, and it changes on a yearly basis. But if you're going into the BOCES program, you may want to ask, is it possible to get a math credit with the program you're enlisted in? Okay? If you're in Geometry R, which many of our 10th graders are, it's our expectation you stay right along that path and go to Algebra 2 Regents. And if Geometry Regents was a little too overwhelming for you, was a little too much, then we have Algebra 2 Topics. If we're not aware of the difference between those two classes, Algebra 2 R ends with a Regents, which is what the R is for. Algebra 2 Topics does not have a Regents at the end of the year. So some of the curriculums overlap. A lot of the curriculum overlap for those two classes. But Algebra 2 Topics, you go at a slower pace. We cut out parts of the curriculum, and there's no Regents exam at the end of the year. If you're in Geometry Topics, if you crushed it and you feel good about it, and you want to get back on like a Regents level track, then you can go into Algebra 2 Regents. And if you feel good about the pace of that class and where you were this year, then stay right in that Algebra 2 Topics. Okay? If you were either in Algebra 2R or an Algebra 2H, so Algebra 2R, I think you're all my students this year. And if you're in Algebra 2H, I believe that's Mr. Natalie. You're both in the same situation. You can go to IB Math Year 1 if you're someone who hopes to get that IB diploma. Or if you want to back off a little bit, or you don't want to get that IB diploma, that's not a goal of yours, then you can go into pre-calc. The classes are very similar, to be honest. But IB Math Year 1 may be a little more rigorous and a little more challenging, because it's our expectation that everybody that does Year 1 IB will go on to Year 2 of IB. So like I said, you should find yourself in one of those pathways and know exactly where you're going next year. Your current math teacher this year has made a recommendation as to what they think would be the best fit for you for next year. And that's all it is. It's a recommendation. Ultimately, this is your decision. It's up to you as to what class is best for you. Don't just do what your friends are doing. Don't do what your parents expect you to do or people want you to do. Think about yourself and put yourself in the best possible situation to challenge yourself and to learn mathematics. But have a conversation with your teacher. You should be curious. You should be curious as to what they recommended for you and why they recommended that. And if you disagree with that, then that's okay. When you meet with your guidance counselor, then just say, yeah, you know what? They may have suggested Algebra 2 Topics, but I'm going to step it up next year. I feel good about going on to Algebra 2R, so I'm going to challenge that class. So again, think about what you want, where you want to go with your class for next year, and be confident with that decision. But we want the rigor level to pick up a little bit as you go year to year. 8th grade to 9th grade should have been a jump in rigor level. 9th to 10th is the same. 10th to 11th, some people have been talking about 11th grade from the day you were born. How, you got SATs that year, you got APs, you got Regents exams. So next year is a big year for you guys. And you're getting close to the college level. So your sense of independence and your the way you challenge yourself really picks up for next year as a junior at Putnam Valley High School. In terms of electives, there's one common one that our juniors take. It's called critical thinking, and there's critical thinking in mathematics, critical thinking in English. It's to prepare you for the assessments that you're bound to see as a junior. So some people like to call it an SAT prep class. I don't like to call it that, but we will prepare you for the SAT portion for the math portion of the SAT, as well as the math portion of the ACT. And one day you go to English, the other day you go to math. But in addition to that, in addition to just preparing you for those assessments, it's called critical thinking for a reason, because we look to build those critical thinking and problem-solving skills. So anybody enrolled in that class will grow as an individual from a mathematics standpoint. So it's not just a test prep class. It's something that should make you into a more well-rounded and a stronger mathematics student. So again, know where you are in these pathways. The other electives that'll be available to you, and typically they're for seniors, but we have personal finance and engineering. And if you're somebody who thinks you want to take that elective as an 11th grader, if that's an option, then have a conversation with your guidance counselor as to what the best place may be. But one of your recommendations from your math teacher may have been to take one of those electives. So like I said, typically they're for seniors, but we certainly have situations where some juniors take those classes. So again, I'm Mr. Baker. I'm in room 317. If you ever have any questions about pathways or classes or how to challenge yourself, I would be more than happy to engage in that conversation. But I would certainly start with your math teacher from this year, ask them the question as to what they recommended and why, and then go from there. Okay? Ultimately, like I said a few times, this decision is on you, so put yourself in the best possible position to learn. So please pop in or stop by if you have any questions for me, and good luck with this entire process. Have a good day, guys.